back. And just ahead of talking to Doug Seaton, who is one of the lawyers who brought the suit to court yesterday for the home daycare providers who are trying to avoid this union election.
Are you there, Doug?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Tom.
Great. Congratulations. Your motion for a temporary injunction to delay the vote that Governor Dayton had ordered the Bureau of Mediation Services to proceed with for unionizing in-home daycares is at least delayed for now. And I got a couple questions for you, because I'm looking at essentially what is a 2-page order. It doesn't say anything other than, we're waiving any bond requirement. We're going to restrain the government's ability to move forward with these with this.
First of all, we should tell people what happened yesterday.
Okay, go
very
right
quickly. You guys went to court to get an injunction to stop the union vote for the daycare providers that have clients who get state assistance. Correct?
That's right. We asked for either a temporary restraining order or a temporary injunction, depending on how the judge saw it. One is shorter, one's longer. He gave us the temporary restraining order. And I guess to answer Tom's kind of implicit question there, he read more into the record by way of the background on the order and his findings than appears in the written order itself.
That's where I was going. And the question I was going to ask, Doug, which I'd like you to address, is there was a statement from Governor Dayton's office yesterday where the governor says, well, I'm just pleased that the judge said that I didn't exceed my authority. That's not what he said.
No, that isn't what he said. There were some I guess, kind comments that were on the order of, well, I don't think the governor meant to do what he did. I guess that is how I would characterize it from the judge. But what the judge said was that his findings were that, in all likelihood, the plaintiffs would prevail on the merits of our claim that the governor had exceeded his authority.
Thank you.
In fact.
Yeah, and that's why that quote, I read it in the local paper this morning, and that's not right.
And here's the thing: the issue here is in the state law, these people have to be designated as employees in state law before there can even be a discussion of a union vote. Is that true?
That is our belief. Yes, we've argued that unless somebody is a public employee, the state has no business setting up any kind of electoral procedure for them. And one of our arguments was that the federal labor law controls this issue. And if there's going to be a 4,000 or an 11,000 member bargaining unit of private daycare providers, then it's the National Labor Relations Board that's supposed to be dealing with that and not a governor's order.
Doug, what's next? Tell people what the next step in the process is going to be.
The next step, the judge did modify the order slightly because in the flurry of the courtroom, we picked a holiday, the Martin Luther King Day, for the order. So for the next hearing, so he's changed that to reasonably enough to January 17th.
Right.
Okay. So there's another hearing.
The next step.
All right. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate joining us this morning. We'll talk to you again. Have a good one. Now coming up, we're getting Doug off real quick because Hollee is coming up.
Hollee Saville is going to join us, one of the daycare providers.
She's one of the daycare providers. Coming up after 8 o'clock, Twin Cities News Talk, AM 1130. Davis and Emmer this morning. AM 1130, Davis and Emmer this morning. Just about 8:09. Yeah, we've been talking about the judge blocking the daycare vote. And this has been something that we have talked about going back to when Sue Jeffers broke this story on this station, in the summer, right?
Long time ago.
This idea that the unions were going around trying to get people to sign up for either the union or sign up to have an election to vote for unions. And there are 11,000 daycare providers in the state of Minnesota. Initially, something like 4,000 were affected because they are the ones that serve clients who receive state aid for daycare. The idea being that the state figures those people can be unionized because technically they're state employees. Well, here's the thing about this court decision yesterday. The judge basically said, and this we did talk about this a little bit, but let me just quickly say that the idea is in the other states where this is passed, because people say, well, 14 other states passed this. What's different about the state of Minnesota? Those other states have codified in state law that the people who work for those daycare centers are considered employees. You have to carve out in state law a delineation that says that they're employees before you can have any kind of a union election. That's what this judge is saying. Now, he's going to hear it again, as Doug said, the attorney for Doug Seaton, the attorney for the plaintiffs in this case, which were the daycare providers who don't want to have this vote, has said that they'll hear it again. What did he say? January 17th.
Yeah, it's actually the daycare providers who say this vote is illegal. It's not that they don't want to have it. They just say this is not legal. This is not appropriate. You're going to have 4,000 people voting for the rest of us that are 11,000 plus, and it's not legal. It doesn't fit the law. And in other
words, we can't have it because the law requires that there be a delineation of us as employees.
And we're not. We're employers. And how are we going to negotiate with ourselves for these work rules? The other thing, Bob, that I'm just going to quick pull out is the local paper this morning had a quote from the governor yesterday that he issued after the court's order, and it said, quote, "I am pleased the court was clear that I did not misuse my authority in issuing the executive order." You know what, Governor? That's not what the court said, and people should go look at the order, the Ramsey County order. I think Ramsey County.
Ramsey County.
Because what the order says...
Judge Dale Lindman.
It's a two-page order that just basically says, you know what, I'm going to grant the temporary restraining order. We're going to have the full hearing on January. This one says 16th, but we found out that was Martin Luther King Day, so it's going to be the next day, January 17th. What do you have to get a temporary restraining order, Bob? The judge has to believe that the plaintiffs will more likely succeed on their claim, and their claim is that he exceeded his authority by ordering an unlawful organizing vote.
So did the governor really say that, or did the reporters for the failed liberal paper just make that up?
It's a quote. That's what it says.
Because the biased reporting is, especially on these kinds of issues, the whole thing is ridiculous. Anyway, Hollee Saville is one of those daycare providers. Good morning.
Good morning.
So you've got to be having a pretty good day.
Oh my goodness, I was jumping up and down. I think my kids were a little confused yesterday when I was jumping and screaming and, just bewildered until I gave them cookies to celebrate, and then they understood.
This is good news, Holly, but this is not the end of it.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we have the hearing on January 17th to hopefully the judge will grant us the injunction to rule that Governor Dayton most definitely overstepped his authority in trying to create this election. And, as the judge said, he was concerned that only a small portion of providers out of those 11,300 would even be afforded the vote. So,
well, and wasn't he also concerned with the fact that the legislature really is the place that should determine whether or not this would be appropriate? In other words, there should be a law, I presume, on the definition of an employee to include people like you.
Yes, absolutely. And I know Bob was talking about legislative changes in other states, but actually only in 11 of those 15 unionized states have only 2 of those 15 unionized states have done legislation to do that. Everything else has been by executive order of those states' governors. So
why didn't they stop it?
Because their state constitutions don't require them to do that. That's the difference, I think.
Well, providers in those other states are trying to stop it. I just think they messed with the wrong state. I mean, we're Minnesotans. We're awesome.
Well, you guys did organize, and you did fight this hard, and it just goes to show you that sometimes people can have some success, but it's a long and hard fight, and you got to stay in there. And I mentioned this morning, this is another subject, but I mentioned the Goodhue wind power thing, that people are starting to stand up against these forces that just say you're going to do this because we want you to, because we have the power, because people are beginning to realize that the individuals have the power, the citizens have the power, not the people in the government.
Well, absolutely. We do have the power. We've gotten this far, and look at how much media coverage we're having, and the fact that Governor Dayton didn't sign the unilateral executive order forcing us to unionize is a testament to that. And yes, we do have a long road ahead of us because we're still making calls to providers to get the vote, to get the facts out because they're not being presented with the truth. And so we still have a lot of calling to do. This kind of gives us more time in case we do not win on January 17th. We're just prepared better prepared, and so people know the truth.
Hollee, where do people go? Is there a website? I presume that you've got some portal for information that people who are looking to find out what's going on can access, and then you probably have a fund as well, because hiring these lawyers, I know Doug Seaton, he's really good at what he does, but they don't all do this stuff for free.
Yeah, absolutely. www.childcarefreedom.com. It's a wonderful website. You can sign up to contact your legislators, the governor, and sign up to help us in any way. And yes, we need financial support for this, because we need to raise another $35,000 to cover the rest of the legal expenses.
You know what, Hollee? Is it intimidating to you at all as a individual citizen that's trying to stand up for her own rights and protect your business and be able to be responsible for your own decisions? Is it intimidating to you at all that on your side, you have to hire a private lawyer? On the governor's side, he's got the attorney general's office that you and I are paying for.
Ridiculous.
I'm not intimidated. I'm frustrated that we're even in this position. I mean, we're self-employed. Who thought that we'd ever have to be facing
it? You know, I can't echo that sentiment even as strong. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We should be focusing on our kids and not have to be thinking about this, worrying about this.
By the way, at the hearing yesterday, was there any question from the judge, as far as you know, or was there any discussion, as far as you know, about the fact that daycare providers like yourself already have an association, that you don't need a union?
Yeah, that's right.
Was there any discussion about that?
You know what? I wasn't at court yesterday, but I bet is Doug on the phone?
No. Doug has gone back to hopefully earning a living.
Doug's getting some coffee.
No, man. Well, I'm not familiar. I think when some of the providers may have testified, they may have said that. But
well, isn't it true, Hollee? You do have a member association that provides all the resources that hopefully you need.
Oh, we have more than one association, and a lot of cities and counties have their own licensed family child care associations, and then we have the Minnesota licensed family child care association, and all of them that I know of are only $35 a year, and you get a free training each month, and newsletters and networking opportunities and a referral service, and they lobby for you, especially the Minnesota
Imagine that. Imagine, and how much would the union dues be?
Union dues would be, according to them, it's $25 a month. But that's what they're saying. That would probably be the minimum. You know, they pay more in some other states. So, $900 up to $900 a year in Illinois. So it just depends.
All right, Hollee Saville, thank you. And good luck.
Thank you very much.
Good luck on the 17th.
Yep,
We'll talk to you later.
Look forward to talking to you again.
All right.